Welcome to Crisis in Perception, where we examine the systems shaping our world, one book at a time.
Today we're diving into Noam Chomsky's On Power and Ideology, a book that unpacks exactly how this system and ideology that serves power actually works.
Okay, so to really get this book, you have to understand where it came from. And its origin story is, well, it's about as stark and unusual as its ideas. It's based on a series of lectures Chomsky delivered, not in some quiet university hall, but in Managua, Nicaragua, right in the middle of a brutal conflict.
And the timing here is just everything. Get this. As Chomsky is standing there giving these lectures, the U.S. government is actively funding a war against his hosts. This was happening right after the World Court had condemned the U.S. for its unlawful use of force in that very country. So that insane contrast really sets up the book's central problem. It all boils down to this one giant question. How does a powerful state justify actions that completely contradict its own public values? Chomsky's answer isn't about blaming a few bad politicians. Nope, he argues it's about the invisible architecture of ideology itself.
See, Chomsky sees ideology less as a set of beliefs we consciously choose and more like an operating system that's just running in the background of society. And what's its main job? To shield power by, and I'm quoting here, limiting popular understanding of social reality. To make that idea a little clearer, let's use a metaphor.
Think of it as a transparent wall. It's a wall that confines our perception of what's possible, what's debatable, what's even thinkable. But here's the kicker. Because it's transparent, we don't even realize we're inside of it. It doesn't feel restrictive at all. It just feels like reality.
So what is this invisible wall built to protect? According to Chomsky, its foundation is this unwritten economic rule he sarcastically calls the fifth freedom. This is the unspoken priority, to guarantee a global environment where certain businesses have the freedom to rob and to exploit.
And this is where we see a key mechanism kick in, something you could call moral inversion. To protect that fifth freedom, real threats have to be completely reframed. The stated threat was that Nicaragua, a tiny impoverished nation, was somehow a danger to U.S. national security. But Chomsky argues the real threat was that Nicaragua posed the threat of a good example, a model of independent development that other nations might just want to copy.
Now, for an inversion like that to become widely accepted, the flow of information has to be managed, right? Chomsky argues that institutions like the media act as powerful filters. They don't have to tell you outright lies, they just have to keep the public debate within a very narrow acceptable range. Anything outside that range starts to seem radical or just unthinkable.
So you put it all together. You set the economic priorities, you invert the morals, you filter the information, and what do you get? You get what Chomsky, borrowing a phrase, calls the manufacture of consent. It's a system designed to ensure that, in the end, the public will more or less agree with the decisions made by its leaders. So why does any of this matter? Because once you understand these mechanisms, you gain a whole new lens for viewing the political narratives we hear every single day. You can begin to see that transparent wall not as a natural boundary, but as something that was constructed.
And that leads to the book's most powerful question. What happens when we actually see the wall? Chomsky suggests that simply perceiving the system for what it is, just understanding how it functions, is the first, most crucial step toward being able to think outside of it.
Because, and he's very clear on this, these systems are not inevitable. As he puts it, institutions are not fixed. The future offers many severe threats and many hopeful possibilities. The power to change things, he suggests, really begins with perception.
For the full, long-form deep dive into this book and its ideas, follow the link in the description.
If you enjoy this kind of systems-level analysis, please like, subscribe, and comment with books or topics you'd like us to explore next.